Hey there, Prayer Plant Girl here. It's middle of February and I just thought I'd give you a quick update on what's going on in my little grow room space here. I have a bunch of things going in my let pot max. I have some onions and a few things going on my grow shelf behind me and a few things over you can see on the window and that. So let's just have a quick look around, and I'm going to trim up those onions, and that's probably going to be what this video is about. So let's have a look around. We'll start here on the let pot. I'm still organizing this room. If you haven't heard, my husband and I kind of switched spaces in the house, and some of his stuff's still in here. There's some cabinets and things up there. So it's just kind of a mishmash still in here, but here's my let pot. You can see my basil. I actually haven't harvested the basil in a little while. I need to do that. It's really good in water with some lemon slices. And you might be able to tell I just went through yesterday and made a nice salad out of the greens there. So lots of greens. And I threw some of the oregano back there. I threw that in the salad as well. The sage, I have a pot of beans in the slow cooker right now, and I'll probably take some sage up with me when I go up and pop that in with the beans. That'll be good. And then I'm pre-sprouting, more like germinating, testing, I guess, a bunch of lettuces here. I had a bunch of old packs of lettuce seed, and they just weren't germinating in the let pot there. So I was wondering if it was the let pot or the seed, and it does seem like it's the seed. So I've just had a bunch of different packs going through here. Some of them were probably 10 years old. So I've thrown a lot of lettuce seed out, or things like the radicchio there. Like I've had one germinate out of, I think I had like 40. They're small seeds. I've just been sprinkling them in there. So not very good germination rate, but they can take up to 20 days to germinate. So leave them for a bit longer. But otherwise, everything's growing fairly well over here. So let's go over to the grow shelf. Actually, before we do the grow shelf, let's look up here. Here's the coleus. Hopefully the lighting isn't too bad with the window there. There's the coleus that I had taken cuttings of off my plants outside this fall, and they're all potted up there and just growing away up in the window, and they get a little bit of the artificial light coming up to them, but mostly it's just this north-facing basement window that they're getting light out of right now, and they're doing all right. Looks like they need a little drink of water, but otherwise they're fine. And the same with the amaryllis. These are like my amaryllis baby bulbs, just in these two pots here. And they're just kind of growing on as they beef up the bulb for subsequent years. I didn't expect flowers or anything from them, which they didn't do. They're just growing and beefing up the bulbs. Down here, sad to report, I put some fertilizer in with my lemon, and I think I killed it. I think I wasn't thinking, and I put way too much fertilizer in with it for a pot this size. I don't know. Just screwed that up royally. So I'm pretty sure I killed my lemon tree, but it was just from a seed from a lemon. So I was never going to get good lemons out of it, especially up here in the north, growing it mostly inside. But it was just a nice tree. And then I have a pak choi in there that a seed had fallen in there at some point a long time ago, and it's just been growing away as a nice little plant. So I've just kind of left it. But I think I will wind up dumping this pot out before spring, because I do not think that lemon is coming back from that, and that's okay. It's gotten to the point where I was going to need to find a much bigger pot and up-pot it to keep it going anyway. So I'm kind of like, I can be done with it. I'll let that go. Now let's go to these shelves. And now the lighting is going to be a little crazy in this video, I know, but here's the begonias. I had pulled up a few tubers that were really tiny. I had purchased plants late in the season, and the tubers were really tiny when I was lifting my begonias this year. And so I actually just potted them up and let them go. And one of them didn't survive that. And you see there was a lot of fungus gnats around here, but they're under control now. I just put the sticky traps, and I put some of the little nematode kind of popper things, nemonites, whatever they're called. There's a few different brands in there in the pots, and that took care of them, but I haven't cleaned out the sticky tags yet. But the begonias are growing really nicely in here, a little bit leggy. I have trimmed them back a couple times, but I'll be able to take some cuttings, I think, off of these to have some of these begonias for the spring. Now again, keep in mind, they are probably like trademarked varieties. This one's Double Delight. It's kind of an orangey, peachy color. This one is a cream. And I don't even know if I have a tag for the other one. I don't. So, not sure what it is. Maybe it goes with this here. Rose Picotee. I can't remember. That doesn't look right though for that. So I'm not sure what that one is there. It actually looks pretty similar to this one here, the primrose. And they're just growing kind of just in a holding pattern more than anything. And I'll take cuttings of them in the spring and try and propagate them that way. But that'll be a little ways down the road. I have my rosemary and thyme that I had started in a video a few weeks ago. So they're doing well. The rosemary's come up really. The rosemary I had transplanted out of the let pot, and then the thyme I had grown from seed. And I have three, I don't know if you can see, there's 3 plants in there, and they're growing nicely just under the artificial lights here in clay pots. And this is the dianthus and the angelonia that I had planted the other day. And oh, look. This, no, I can't remember. I used wet erase markers, not very smart. I think the white tag was the dianthus. I do have it written down in my notes upstairs, and I don't know if you can tell, but there's little green popping up in this cell, this cell, this cell, this cell. And I planted those just a couple of days ago. So that's pretty good. And nothing, I don't see anything in the angelonia. Yeah, this would be the angelonia because I only had 11 seeds. So there's nothing coming up in there yet, but I'm very early, so I'm surprised there's anything in the dianthus. Get that covered back up. And then that brings us to the onions. So you can see they've gotten quite tall. So in a video, I planted the Elisa, I think it's called Elisa Craig onion, and then a few of my own saved seeds. And then a few days later, actually, I went and I was out shopping. I saw these Valencia and I thought, oh, I'd like to try those. So I planted a small pack of Valencia in this spot here, and they've all grown and gotten quite tall. This wasn't quite an ideal. I would have liked something a little deeper, but it'll work for what I have. I may need to bump them up, but there's not a lot in there. But I would like to just come now, and what I like to do with my onions is just trim them to, I don't know, maybe 8 centimeters, 3 inches or so in height. And I do that for a couple of reasons. It's supposed to send more energy to the bulb, and I'm not sure if that does that or not. But I think it helps keep these tops from getting too unruly and tangling together and bending over. Because once your onions, once the stems here bend over, that tends to kind of signal to the onion that it's done growing if it gets like real bent. So I like to just keep them trimmed, and I think that keeps them doing better. So again, I'm going to trim the tops off. That'll be their first haircut. And then I'll actually take these greens. You can use them as little green onions, and I'm probably going to pop them in that bucket of beans as well. So in the slow cooker. So we'll get some sage and some onions while we're down here to add into the flavoring of the beans that I'm cooking. So there's not really a science or anything to this. I'm just going to take and just hold them up. Looks like you're like giving them a little haircut. Snip the tops off, and some might fall down onto the soil. I try not to let too much stay down there because that can encourage fungus gnats, but a little bit, especially with onions, a little bit of the onion tops down there won't be a big problem. Some of these have gotten quite tall. But yeah, I just find doing this really helps to keep them from getting too unruly and make makes for tidier plants that are easier to maintain until I get them planted out so that they don't wind up getting their tops bent over and end their life cycle. So there, I think I got most of them. I'm just going to go through, and any that still have a seed head on it, even if it's lower, I'm just going to give that a little snip if I can here. There, those just look a little bit tidier now. Oh, there's one more here. And then I'll do these guys over here. Just a quick little snip. Now, it's not super important, I don't think, the height you cut them at, just something that's manageable for you, but still allowing them to take in some light energy is all that's really needed. So there, just a really quick update of what's happening down here in my little grow room space, and a little harvest that I can add into the dried beans that I'm cooking up to go with supper tonight. I grabbed a bit of the oregano out of the let pot as well. I thought that would be a nice addition as well. So it's always nice to have a few fresh herbs. I'll add these in a little bit later on once the beans are close to cooked so that they're not getting overcooked. But yeah, thanks for coming along with me down in my plant room today, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.